It's hard to believe that a large mob is surrounding London. This is not the UK that hundreds of thousands of people know. You see women wearing black headscarves everywhere, streets lined with Arabic signs, and flags waving as though our nation's core values are being ignored. It feels like a blatant disregard for our traditions and morals. The situation creates confusion, blocks traffic, and disrupts the daily lives of many. I've always known the UK has been changing, but witnessing it firsthand is shocking. This goes beyond a protest. It seems like a refusal to adapt or integrate into our way of life. What we're seeing is a reflection of a much bigger problem, one that is growing rapidly. We need to speak out about the state of our country. When you watch videos of these events, remember to like and subscribe. You'll see hundreds of people marching, obstructing traffic, and waving flags. This is not just a display, it feels like a show of power, generating chaos and disruptions to public order. How are we supposed to feel safe when this is happening right outside our doors? If another group created this level of disruption, the authorities would react very differently. There would be arrests, crackdowns, and headlines everywhere. Yet, there's silence from the mainstream media. Isn't it strange how they quickly report on other demonstrations or movements they oppose, but this is kept under wraps? Why do they want us to remain unaware of what's really happening in our country? This is no longer about faith or community. It's about losing control over law enforcement in our cities. If this were another organization, say a British patriotic group, you'd see a completely different reaction: arrests, police dogs, batons. Yet here, the authorities seem to walk alongside them. What does that say about the state of our nation? It's no longer about diversity but about people rejecting fundamental values like freedom, integration, and respect. Entire areas of our cities now seem like international enclaves where British values are pushed aside. People refuse to integrate, choosing instead to carve out their own spaces in our country. And it's not just a peaceful rejection, it's a deliberate disruption. They're blocking roads and making life difficult for people simply trying to go about their daily lives. We hear the flags and slogans, but we don't hear the voices of the people whose lives are being disturbed. Isn't it time we started asking tough questions? If you think this video is shocking, wait until you see what's happening elsewhere. In Pakistan, immigrants have transformed streets into party zones, music blaring late into the night while the rest of us just want some peace. There's traffic, buses honking, and still no sign of the police. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a blatant disregard for everyone else. What you're witnessing is shameful. The facts speak for themselves. These are the realities unfolding at night: Pakistani signs everywhere, loud music playing, and major thoroughfares brought to a halt. A red bus full of frustrated passengers, drivers honking in frustration. It's organized chaos right in the middle of our city. Those trying to get home after a long day of work are stuck in the streets. This behavior is clearly disrespectful, and yet, where are the authorities? There's not a single police officer to control or even acknowledge the disruption. If this were any other group causing such chaos, there would be swift action, but the police seem nowhere to be found when we need them. The situation is deteriorating, and the government appears to be losing control, especially when it comes to the chaos at our borders. Efforts to confront the rise in smuggling gangs and dangerous channel crossings seem like desperate attempts to plug a sinking ship. The latest summit hosted by Home Secretary Yvette Cooper aims to address these issues, but will anything change? High-profile figures like Foreign Secretary David Lammy and Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood are involved, but the question remains: can their efforts make a real difference? Cooper has promised to crack down on smugglers and address illegal migration, following the failure of the Rwanda plan. But let's be honest, the numbers speak for themselves. Nearly 22,000 people have crossed the channel this year alone, and the government's actions so far seem like a drop in the ocean compared to the magnitude of the issue. Security Minister Dan Jarvis assures us that the government is taking responsibility, but his words feel hollow against the backdrop of rising illegal crossings. We keep hearing that it will take time to resolve the issue, but that excuse has worn thin. Meanwhile, smuggler networks continue to grow, and the death toll keeps rising. 12 people, mostly women and children, lost their lives in the channel just this week. The government pledges to address the criminal organizations responsible, but where are the results? This summit aims to improve cooperation with Europol and tackle smuggling operations, but many doubt that these efforts will have a real impact. The National Crime Agency has already highlighted the government's delays, and despite successes in other countries, we're left wondering why the situation isn't improving on our shores. The government talks of reopening immigration centers and tightening asylum laws, but these feel like small solutions to a much larger problem. While they boast of progress and key arrests, the real issue, unchecked borders and the unchecked rise of criminal networks, remains largely ignored.